Welcome to episode number 83 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stephen Loeffler and Jack at Junk Wax Twins. He's back. What's up, Steph? We have Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are called Podcast by Collectors for Collectors, hoping to bring you a smart, insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific,
10 Central.
You on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available as a podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, wherever you can find a podcast. Check out the website aboutthecards.wordpress.com and find us on the Flick Chat app. We have a special guest tonight with us, Karl. Karl of KenCarl'sSportsArt.com and at KenCarl01 on Twitter. How's it going tonight, Ken?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm pretty excited.
Well, we're great. We're very excited to have you on tonight. We've always we've been really fans from afar of your art, and we've had a list of people we want to get on the show, and you've been on that list, and Ben reached out and got it going, and so I think we're really excited that you're able to join us tonight and spend a few minutes talking about your art and what you do and all that fun stuff and be able to talk about it. So let's get into it. How long have you quote been a sports artist? How did you get started?
Well, I don't know what that entails. I've been drawing, sports art since I was a kid. Started with Beckett magazine. You guys are familiar with that, I'm sure. Those great pieces of art in the back covers. And I've been drawing that ever since. But, life gets in the way. Before the internet, it was hard to get information on how to even do that or how to sell it, So, I did other things. And then probably about 2 or 3 years ago, I have a guy that represents me, and he mentioned sketch cards. It's the first time I'd ever even heard of them. And I started doing them. I did some for Beckett for a while. That didn't really work out for me. And then, about a year ago in the spring of 18, I stumbled onto a baseball card site that some other guy was selling them. I thought, well, I think I could do that. So I drew a couple samples and I put them out there, and I got hammered with orders, which was great. And the rest is history. Within, I guess probably 7 months, I quit my job and I do it full time now.
That's awesome.
It's been unbelievable. I mean, I would have never guessed. It's like one of those paths in life. You never knew that I would have never went down this path. I would have never selected it, if you will. But I love it. I love it.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, you tweeted out that you were coming on the show tonight, and you showed the gorgeous George Brett card.
That's one of my favorites.
And then you showed Rod Carew, but he was on the wrong team. He's supposed to be an angel, but no. I've seen that George Brett card for a while, and it's always spoken to me. It's such an amazing piece, and then when you post, you always show like the tools that you're using, the markers, the pens, the pencils, whatever, and how we talked about this pre-show. You're limited to, a card this size to put out some artwork and put the detail in that you do. It's just amazing. So,
thank you.
Yep. So
Thanks.
Just walk us through, like, what's the process look like? Because I can color in a coloring book, and I'm not very good there. So like, how are you doing this and creating this, and what's that look like?
Well, it's really crazy because I first have to find I have to research the photos, which there's a lot of stuff out there, as you guys know. Unfortunately for me, I can't just pull it out of my head. That's a weakness I have as an artist. I struggle with that. But if I can see the photograph, I can usually copy it. So I have to find all that. Then I get it, I sketch it out, get it started on the board, and then I just use Copic markers and put some tones on them, just keep layering different colors on them. And then once I get to where I don't think I can go any further with that, I need finer details, then I go to the color pencils and hash them in. And I will tell you, a lot of cards, as you're doing them, they look like crap. I mean, the first probably 100 I did, I panicked almost every time. I thought, this is going to turn out like crap. It doesn't look right, But through experience, like everything else in life, you just keep putting the color on, you just keep putting stuff on, and then eventually it kind of forms itself out,
Yeah.
So.
It sounds like our show. If you go back and watch the first like 20 episodes, it's three fat guys trying to figure out what to do. And, I think we've gotten to a pretty good place. How long does it take to create one?
Despite not screen sharing.
Yeah, well, thank you. This is a tough part for me. I can tell your listeners, but this is an awkward moment for me. I don't really like to tell how long they take for this reason. If I charge my customers a certain amount of money, and I don't want them to start doing math. Well, this costs this much. They start thinking about how much it is an hour, and then other people think, well, how could you ever make a living doing it for that little? You know what I'm saying? So, but basically, they take me about anywhere from 2.5 to 3 to 3.5 hours, depending on how smooth it is and how it's going for me that day. Some days I burn, like the George Brett's one of my favorite cards because I did it under 2 hours, and I think it's one of the best ones I've ever done. I'm so fond of it because it just flowed off my tools. I don't know how to explain it. And it was done in under 2 hours, and it's still one of my favorites for that reason, So
yeah. Was that a commission piece?
Yes, almost 99% of my cards are commissioned in advance. Early on, I would draw them up and then collect the money. And then, as you guys know, in this business, you don't always get the money. So I avoided that. And luckily, I'm blessed that I have a lot of people that reach out to me and order them in advance. So I'm fortunate that way.
That one's gorgeous. I like to find the person that has it and offer them. I don't think they would. If they're like me with Brett, they probably would just be like, "There's no money on this." I mean, first children, maybe. I don't know. Do you work on one at a time, or do you do a few? Like, you start one and you go, I need to take a break from doing this one, and I'm going to go work on this one now and come back.
Well, that's a great question because as I started, I reach out to several other artists that are doing this, because if somebody has experience, why wouldn't you, right? So I've talked to a lot of guys, and some of them go multiple at a time, some do one. I do one at a time right now, but I'm going to be honest with you. Tonight, I'm starting to think I might start trying to do 2 or 3 at a time because I'm working on a Dirk Nowitzki right now, and it's quite honestly, it's kicking my ass. It's not turning out very well. It's very frustrating for me, and I think I'd be better served if I had another one going and I could go back to it, So I to be honest, it's a great question because I'm actually contemplating maybe trying to do 2 or 3 at a time, have them all going so I could go back and forth if I need to. But as of now, I always draw them one at a time all the way through.
Okay.
Yep. As far as that Dirk one goes, what are the odds of you just setting that one aside and say, I'm going to start over from scratch?
Well, here's the problem with that. First of all, I've already got a lot of time invested in it. And second of all, like I've said earlier, I can't tell you how many cards I've started. I thought this was never going to turn out, and it turned out pretty well. So I'm not to the point where I'm ready to can it yet, but I am considering it. Here, I think I can show it to you. See if I can. Now, this is going to look horrific. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's behind the scenes. Your people can, your listeners can see.
I'm a Spurs fan, so anything Dallas Maverick related is going to look bad.
I don't know if you can see that or not. See how bad it is?
That's awesome.
That looks good. It's a process, though. It's like watching the sausage get made. Sometimes you don't want to see what's going into it, but at the end, the final product's wonderful.
Sure. So I'm not ready to give up on it yet, but I can tell you I'm getting close. So.
Now you have in the past though given up on one and just said,
for sure. I've probably given up on probably 3 to 4 of all the ones I've done because, like I said, most of them, if you work on them long enough, you can resurrect them. That's how I say. But some of them have just been. There was no saving them, and that hasn't happened to me though. Probably in 8 or 9 months. So this one's close, but we'll see.
For collectors, when but when you do a McGuire for my collection, if you happen to mess up on one and you have to send me that one too. I want them both.
First of all, I would never tell you I messed up because then you'll start looking at the one I sent you and you'll start looking for mess ups on it. And secondly, I don't look. This is my business. There's one of the dual ones I've done. I don't want this getting out there. I don't want one of my bad ones getting posted. Does that make sense to you?
That would go in the McGuire collection forever and ever and ever. And
so
adored as. And I'll tell you this much too. When I put it in my database as a Ken Karl 1 of 1, I would have 2 separate entries. I'd have one that is
It's the one-of-one proof.
Sketch and one that is a work in progress. I put it under a whip, and they would go with the other thousands of Maguires I have, and I tuck it under my arm and I take it to bed with me.
This one is actually one of our listeners, Ken Kinsley. His wife had you commission this piece for their wedding, and actually it's both of their birthdays today. We're going to say happy birthday to Ken later in the show, but it's their birthday son, and he happened just to post this today, not knowing you're going to be on the show.
No kidding. And
so there it is, and he's a great guy in the hobby. We love him, and so it's great to show it off on the show here tonight. So. What is your favorite subject to work with, like sport or entertainment, or what's your favorite one to sit down and go after?
Oh, definitely for me, sports, because I'm like you guys. You start in this hobby, if you will, as being a sports fan first. So I definitely love sports, and one of the reasons I love the sports cards so much are the art cards. Is I get to draw tons of athletes. My bigger stuff takes weeks at a time to finish. These, man, like you said, I'm at 3 hours. I've knocked a couple out a day. It's just so awesome to go through so many different ones. I definitely prefer the professional athletes. I'm an avid sports fan, so I know how they look. So even if the photo is not right, I know how to fix them.
Who's your team? Who are your teams that you?
Well, I live in St. Louis, so I'm a Cardinal guy. I'm a Blues guy. And I like the Golden State Warriors. I liked them before they were great. I like them now. They're junk. I liked him because David Lee went there. He's a St. Louis guy. He went there before they were great, But mostly I just I like the Chiefs. I got a backstory. My wife's father was a big fan of the Chiefs. He recently passed within the past couple years. So our family's kind of adopted the Chiefs. And then luckily Pat Mahomes arrived, so it's made it a lot easier to be a fan.
Oh, yeah. So they're going to be I was going to ask you a Super Bowl pick. So it's going to be the Chiefs over the Niners?
I got to roll with them, yeah.
All right, well, yeah, that's not a bad one. Do you collect cards yourself?
I do not collect cards. I would like to, but you guys are so engrossed in it. It is overwhelming. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I actually went to a card store, a local card store here where I live. It just opened up. It was in a different area. They moved it here. And I just saw all those boxes, and I just thought, I want to learn a little bit because it's kind of my business now. It's my profession, if you will. But it's still so overwhelming. Like I listen to your guys' podcasts, all the releases you guys are announcing. I mean, come on, I can't. It's overwhelming. I don't know how else to say it other than that.
Yeah, no, and it can be, and that's kind of why we're here. We're kind of be like, Ben and I walked away for a number of years and came back to it. It was completely different from when we left, and trying to navigate. And that's why we try to do the shows to help folks to understand what's out there and kind of maybe help them find their lane, because you can't do everything anymore because it's way too expensive. Like in the 80s, you could kind of collect everything, right? But now there's no way you could, because you'd be living in a house made of baseball cards, because that's all you would have.
Yes. When I collected in the mid-'80s, when I was a teenager, you just bought the cards and you collected your teams,
Right.
And then the rookies in the mid-'80s kind of started taking form, so everybody went out and bought the same rookie cards you guys were buying, And then I went away to school, came back, and there's just so many variables and options. I will say this about the card companies, man. They have figured it out. I will say that.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great way to commercialize their product, for sure.
Oh, no, definitely. So how can we get in contact if one of our listeners, viewers wants to reach out to you and commission a piece? Mm-hmm. What's the lead time that you would need, and what's the best and easiest way to get that to you?
Well, I'll cover the lead time first. Unfortunately for me, I like my lead times to be a little quicker, but I'm not as fast as I'd like to be, and I am pretty booked. So right now, I'm in the mid to late March right now. But if people reach out to me, I always try to accommodate within, if it's possible, of course, if I can. But yeah, I'm in. So what's that? About 7, 8 weeks. I think it's 7 weeks lead time. I usually do charge a non-refundable deposit. It's part of your payment, but I've had too many people cancel on me after I save time for them. So I avoid that now.
Not to cut you off, Ken, but what percentage of the overall cost is the non-refundable deposit? 50% more?
Just a quarter of it.
Okay.
Just a quarter of it. Just enough that you have interest to come back, you know. I found out early on as I go. Thanks for putting my stuff up there, by the way. I found out as I went, you know, Chipper actually responded to that card.
Really? That is amazing. I love that one.
He retweeted out to that and just responded, "That's badass." And then one of my Acuna cards, I don't know if you guys know this, he uses it as his Instagram profile.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Does he?
Yeah. But anyway, as you see across the bottom, I have a website, kenkarlsportsart.com, all Ks. If you're familiar with my stuff, you'll know that. And then Twitter. My Twitter handle is weird because I did it when my kids were playing sports. I didn't do it as a business, so it doesn't have my business logo. It's KenKarl01. And then you can find me on Facebook at Ken Karl Sports Art. I have a couple of different areas there, but if you go there, you'll find me, and then you can instant message me from there. So,
yeah, and Steph's sharing all the links in the chat, and we'll tweet those out again. Ken, we really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us tonight. We've all been fans of your stuff from afar, and it's finally great to meet you. And one, I'm a big logo guy, and so I just want to say that your Ken Karl logo is awesome.
Oh, thanks.
It is. It really is, because it stands out, and you see it. You can see it from afar and go, "Oh, that's his piece. I need to see that." Like if you're just flipping through Twitter really quick, you stop and you look and you go, "Hey, it's cool." It makes it. It adds something else to the art to me.
Oh, thanks.
And awesome. So I know I'm going to be reaching out to you. I need to find what I want to commission of Brett. But I need to have one in here with the rest of my stuff. So.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Before you guys let me go,
we stopped.
What's that?
I was just going to say, we stop and we look on Twitter and we salivate. There was one part that you missed.
Like,
I don't care if you're a fan of that team or that player or not. You look at it and go, "Oh my goodness, you still my beating heart."
Oh, thanks. You guys are too kind. Thank you. I will say this, and this will sound kind of hokey, but. Man, as I've gotten into this, you know, I'm competitive. I want to do the best I can, obviously. But as I haven't met a bad person in your hobby yet. I mean, it's remarkable. Everybody's been supportive. Everybody's been great to me, and you can't help but want to. If somebody contacts you, can't help but want to do your very best work. If they're knowing they're adding it to their collection and knowing how, you know, valuable that is to them, that they would reach out to me. I can't help but want to do the best I can for them. You know, I mean, it sounds hokey, but that's the truth. So
no, we appreciate that. And then I would say, like, in the whole retrospect of things, we talk about some shady folks in this, and I would say 95% of the people I've run into have been wonderful. And you know, yeah. So, and it's a real community because, you know, I've known Steph like a decade and didn't meet him until last summer, right? Ben and I lived 25 minutes apart, and we didn't meet until 2012. And so it's awesome, and what we're able to do, and we appreciate and keep doing it, and we'll keep sharing it. And
thank you. I got one question before you guys let me go. How did you guys find me?
I just saw the stuff on Twitter before.
Is that right?
So,
okay.
I mean, we're friends on Facebook, but I think I added you as a friend after Twitter because again, it comes up on our timeline, and it's just like, I don't know who did that, but
and then we share it in the DM. And it's like, holy shit, did you see this?
Oh, cool.
This is a drawing, and like this is art.
Yeah, I was like, I'm reaching out to this guy because this guy has to be on the show because, you know, again, we were talking before the show. I don't want a piece of your artwork in my collection. I need it. I have to have it.
Well, that's coming. You'll get one. So
it goes with most collectors. A lot of our friends, it goes beyond want. It is a sickness, and we have to have it. And it's just like when I saw your stuff, it's like there's no way a piece of this guy's artwork doesn't. I have to have it. That's. I mean, we can't offer you enough compliments because your work is just that tremendous. And our YouTube chat is lighting up with people that are complimenting you and saying, "I'm here only because Ken's on the show tonight," and it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
We really
that's great. It's utterly amazing what social media can do, man. It's just nuts. Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys having me on the show, man. I really do. Thanks.
Well, thanks, Ken.
Anytime you want to come on.
Anytime. Let us know, man. You got an open spot. Just hit us up. We'll get you on.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
All right, man. Have a great night.
You too.
And that's Ken Karl. I mean, this is the first time we're ever talking to him, but what a dude! What like the art that he has is awesome. And that Brett card, it's been out a couple years, I believe, and I've always wanted to track it down and find it. I'm going to get a piece made just because of that. It's not because he was on the show, but now I know how to get a hold of him and what we need to do, and I'm very excited. Real quick, we wanted to say happy birthday to Ken and his wife.
Do we want to sing it?
No, nobody wants to hear us sing. Come on, let's be honest. Nobody wants to hear us sing at all because when I sing "Let's Get Organized," then people like I've looked at the numbers and they
but this is happy birthday to our brother Kenneth and his wife Crystal. They both share a birthday. That's got to be why they met and fell in love.
And I think the best part, I think Ken said, "Yeah, Ken Karl was the only person that's actually been able to make me look somewhat human." Was one of the posts in the chat, something to that effect. I think it's amazing. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about Kobe and his passing. The Los Angeles Lakers great passed away at 41 on Sunday. He perished in a helicopter crash with eight other people, including his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and an Orange County legend and baseball coach was also on there with some of his family. When I heard the news, I got it a DM from, I think, those back pages, and I clicked the TMZ link, and the site was down. So I thought it was like one of those fake ones. I was like, I don't believe this, because this stuff happens all the time.
Right.
Some random celebrities has passed. And then I started looking and then there was no news about it, like in the Twitter news, like you go to like what's trending, nothing's there yet. ESPN has nothing. We were watching a movie with the kids, and all of a sudden things started rolling, and then I realized it was real.
Right.
And I can't stand the Lakers, being a Sacramento Kings fan, just being a person that lives in Sacramento. And I never liked Kobe as a player because he was so good, and he had so many great memory, like so many great games against the Kings and playoffs and regular season. But it hit me, and then it hit me as a dad when I found out his daughter's on there, and I have two kids. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, and then you find out there was other families on there. Then it went from 5 people to 9, and it's just one of these things that seems surreal. And like I have this like sad. I never met the man, and I never was a fan. Never rooted for him. Rooted against him a lot. Chanted against him a lot. As in competition. I had this overwhelming sadness the rest of Sunday and most of Monday. I had this weird feeling, and I kept trying not to think about it because I was like, what were those final moments like? I know Jim Rome talked about this, and it's like, you're with your kid. Like, what do you do? Like, there's nothing you can do in a helicopter, right? And I just want to know, how did you guys hear? How did the news affect you at all? I mean,
I saw it before. Eric, those back pages had posted in our collective group, and not far behind him. And we're actually driving back to the Twin Cities for our flight on Monday. And it's like, oh, well, hope that's false. I mean, and I at least where we were, I had a poor connection. So it's like, hit refresh. 5 minutes later, it would load the rest of the page, and they're like, okay, no, it's actually real. No, it's bullshit. Refresh. Wait. Oh, and now there's more people, and it's not just him. And kind of put a downer on an already, because I mean, when you're leaving vacation, it's never the best time, especially given the circumstances why I was up there. But yeah, it was just yeah. Well, and so I don't know if you guys know that, but I think it was the 60 Lakers. Their plane almost went down with Elgin Baylor and most of the team on board. So just kind of the parallels. It's rough.
Yeah. I mean, Ben, when did you hear about it? Was it about the same time, or?
Yeah, probably 20 minutes or so. Our friend Drew Herndon from Let Me Get That Potograph was the somebody shared like this Kobe stuff can't be real, and the legendary Motown singer Smokey Robinson has fake died 20 times over, right? So that was, I think, most of our first instinct was this is somebody's getting this wrong. And Tim and I are the same age, a couple months apart, about a year younger than Kobe, and I think it hits you a little different because we grew up with him. And I think as sports fans, whenever we say we hate someone, I hated Kobe Bryant. That wasn't because I hated the man, the individual. It was I couldn't stand what he would do on the court to the Spurs. The Spurs and the Lakers won 10 of the 20 championships during Kobe's career. The Lakers won 5 and the Spurs won 5. They were as big of rivals during that era. I can't tell you how many times I've argued with people on the internet, just in general, but specifically about, was it the Kobe Bryant era or was it the Tim Duncan era? And who was better or more impactful for their team? And you're never going to get, one versus the other, right? It's all subjective. But it goes to show how much respect he had on the court as a player, that we hated him and despised him. And I can't stand him, but it came from nothing but respect for the person, because he just had, I saw a quote, I'm going to butcher it, but it said something about the fact that he has nothing in common, because I have nothing in common with like lazy people or something, because I don't have anything in common with those type of people. His drive was immense. And if we take nothing from him outside of that, he was motivated to be number one, and he would have succeeded no matter what he did in life, not just basketball, but, if he would have been a mailman, he would have been the best mailman ever, because that's who he was. And, we obviously, our heart goes out to all 9 individuals, all 4 families or 5 families, how many ever total it was that was affected directly, everybody that was affected, as a one-off, friends and family members of every individual. And it's just, our heart bleeds for Vanessa and the girls, as well as the other individuals, families respectively. So yeah, I was sitting on my couch and I'm watching this, and I sat Bentley down, and I was like, JFK and Elvis and John Lennon and the Challenger and Michael Jackson and individuals who have passed that were celebrities and famous. This is one of those ones where you're going to look back and you're going to know exactly where you were at when you heard the news. Not that he passed away. If he died as an old man at the age of 85,
yeah, that's different. But at 41 and the way he went,
yeah.
Chris Dolman passed away as well this weekend, and but it was yesterday, right? Last night, this morning, and he had brain. Yeah, he wasn't very old either, but he'd been battling brain cancer for a couple years, and that's a little less shocking, right? Because you knew the man had been battling some disease, and I mean, to me, it's still one of those things, and the icon that he was, not only on the sports arena but afterwards. I mean, a couple years out of basketball, he wins an Oscar,
right?
Yep. Huh? Because they asked him, somebody was talking about, many of the people reflecting on him said, hey, Kobe, are you going to be a coach, a GM? Are you going to own a team? What are you going to do with basketball once you're retired? And he goes, I'm done. Once I'm done playing, I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to go on to do something else. Right. I also heard he taught himself how to play the piano.
He spoke 5 languages?
Yeah. And the reporter was like, well, you can get a coach. You can get a teacher. And he goes, no, I'm going to. And he just put music on, classical music, and taught himself how to play the piano. Like, huh? It's the man was amazing. And now there's these DBs out there that are selling fake autos and mem of his cards, obviously. And Steve Grad's been blowing everybody up. If you follow him on Twitter, he's the lead guy over at Beckett Authentication, and he's been posting like at eBay, like at Ask eBay, why are you guys allowing these people to sell these fake autographs and memorabilia and things of Kobe Bryant? Just it's awesome to see like someone stand up and say, hey, listen, like, be careful. There's a bunch of fake stuff. So like eBay exploded. If you look back on Sunday and how many Kobe cards were sold on Sunday, I think it would have to be more on that one day than he sold prior months combined. Sure. One of our friends, Biggs, was watching a Kobe Bryant card for a while. I don't remember which one it was, and he went back. It was gone right after the news.
97 tops.
Yeah, and he'd been watching for a while, and all these cards all of a sudden were going. They're going for crazy prices, and we've seen here's the we know it's coming. The eBay listing, 96, 97 Kobe Bryant rookie, RIP, Kobe Bryant autograph, RIP. We've talked that to death. We have no love for that. No love for people trying to go out and make money off of this. I know people that were selling cards of his that took them down for a few days just to kind of give it a breather. I know that Panini stopped selling Kobe Bryant stuff on their site. That was reported by Voice of the Collector Upper Deck. Nike stopped selling all of the Mamba stuff. And who knows how long that lasts. I think it should be a couple of days just to give it a breather, because there's these people out there that are all of a sudden, and it's like what Ben always says: if you didn't want it today, you didn't want it yesterday? Why do you want it today with the Kobe? And maybe it's to reminisce, like, hey, I collected his cards when he was back then. I don't collect anymore. Maybe I'll go grab one, whatever. But I think there's a lot of people trying to, Probstein, our buddy over there. I think they had, 25 cards listed instantly that were all new listings the same day.
You can't wait 2 or 3 days. I mean, let's be serious now.
Yeah.
Your buyers are going to buy, sellers are going to sell. Fine. Okay. We understand that. And we can respect that. We talk about finances all the time on this show. And obviously anybody that follows me, capitalism, you don't have to explain it to me, right? People are going to make money. People are going to capitalize. But seriously, 2 days, 3 days, just have a little bit of respect. And this is a little different because other players have overdosed on drugs. Other players have made bad decisions driving boats out, having been under the influence. It doesn't mean that we're not upset over the tragedy and the tragic loss of their life as well. But when you make a decision yourself to affect your own life, the variable is a little different. I mean, this is a tragedy. It's an accident.
Yeah.
The helicopter had clearance. It was legally in the air. Visibility was low, and they were apparently going a little too low and a little too fast. But as far as we know, they were, according to reports, they were doing everything legitimately. It was just an accident. Things happen. Yeah. So we all get hit by a bus. Things happen. Just
if I got hit by a bus, though, the bus would take most of the blunt. Let's just be honest.
But just a couple of days. That's all. And everybody on Facebook is blowing people up who don't sell. No, sell. Go ahead. What are your Kobe cards? And it's like,
well, I liked it. Cards from the Attics is, I think, your brother in another city, because he's like, I'm going to stop following people that are selling Kobe cards. I'm going to stop following, and he was kind of clowning on some folks. I'm going to stop selling cards about people that say Kobe. I'm not going to stop following people that have ever thought about Kobe Bryant. I'm going to stop following everybody. Just kind of where it was. Real quick, because we want to move on to some happier stuff. What impact? Because we have a great release this week, and we're going to get into what does the impact of a surprising death have on his cards, his auto, his memorabilia? I mean, it was already we lost Steph there. It was already, his cards and his autographs were already a valuable commodity, right? People wanted, he was very collectible. But what do you think? What do you think it does? Do you think it has just a little hump where it goes up for a little bit and then
right now his market's going to be ripe for a while, not because he was, just an athlete. He was Kobe Bryant, one of the players that transcend, his sport. So his it's going to be a few months before you start to see kind of a decline in overall sales. But the thing is, you have people that are not card collectors right now that are in the market for anything and everything Kobe. With this particular person, his market's going to be a little bit different, and it's probably going to last considerably longer than say, Tyler Skaggs did, who unfortunately passed during the baseball season. Just because their celebrity was different beyond just the sport.
Yeah.
Kobe is as much an adjective in basketball and beyond as, hey, Tim, let's go grab a cup of coffee this weekend. It's not that. It's let's go grab a Starbucks. It's just a matter of which Starbucks are we meeting at. It's become an adjective. And yeah, anytime you go to throw something in the garbage can, it's not Jordan. It's not LeBron.
Kobe. How did that start again? I don't remember.
Why Kobe? As there's dozens and dozens of jump shooters that you could have.
Bernie Maxwell.
Yeah. Why not Reggie Miller or Ray Allen or one of the sharpshooters from three, right? Aren't we shooting from across the room to where, Robert Ory.
Iverson.
Oh!
Robert Ory, game 6, gets the Kings.
Yeah, so we've muted Ben for that comment. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get kicked off the show for that. But let's move into the week that was. Last week's releases, Topps Living Week 98. We had card 279, Jeff Bagwell, Hall of Fame first baseman of the Houston Astros, 2,400 cards. Here we go. And card 280, Caleb Smith, pitcher, Miami Marlins, 1988. Check out at Topps Living Stat for a full breakdown of where these cards fall respectively in the set and by team and by position. Also, if you want to pick them up for a good deal, he has them for a good price. We also had 1920 Upper Deck Synergy Hockey drop as well. Hot off the presses, this week's new releases. Topps Living Week 99, folks. 99. I'm really excited. 99. We're almost to 100.
Card ever.
Yeah, card 281. Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Fame pitcher, Milwaukee Brewers, and
then the
San Diego
best card
Padres.
ever, Seth Lugo.
Briefly Boston Red Sox for like 24 hours. He was a Red Sox.
And card 282, Seth Lugo, pitcher of the New York Mets. Who? This is like the Joey Rickard one of the this year. So I know that the Raleigh is amazing. I know Ben needed to change his pants a handful of times today after he kept looking at it.
True.
And right now he's actually sans pants as we do the show because they're all in the wash.
So that by far, and this is biased take, best card that Topps Living has produced.
No, it's top 5.
Look at the shadow on his chin and his neck with the stash.
Yeah.
And I said this on Twitter today. I said this in a couple of private conversations. I said, if I'm looking at this objectively, top 3 to 5. I mean, Ichiro, Ted Williams, my personal favorite, Ralph Kiner, Honus Wagner. Lot of good ones. I mean, incredible set. But just the detail on Raleigh is so amazing. Like I said, number 1 for me personally, top 3 to 5 would be hard to argue against.
Yeah, no, it's a gorgeous card. So, if you're looking to pick them up, you can pick them up for like $5 pretty much everywhere. But Topps Living Stat will hook it up. Trust me.
Topps Living Stat had posed a question today. What do we think? He posted the 39 legends, 1 through 39, and asked where we thought Raleigh was what's our over under. I told him, I said probably about 28 to 3,200 is where I figured, which would put him in the top 40. That would put him right around 28 to 30-ish.
Yeah, but you're only buying one, so you're not going to help that number.
My dad's buying one too, though. So this house is buying too.
Okay.
And we met Raleigh this past weekend at A's Fan Fest. He put his arm around my kid, and so I might have to buy Bentley one.
So never mind. There's a bad joke there, but top 2020 Topps Archive Signature Active Player Edition Series set came out today. Finally, after a number of weeks being pushed back, the TTM set is out there. It's $43 a box, 1 pack per box, 1 card per pack. You're going to get 1 autographed buyback card. There's 102 signers this year. Here are some of the great names on the list: Ronald Acuna Jr., Pete Alonso, Mike Trout, Jorge Alfaro, Patrick Corbin, David Peralta, just to name a few of the great names. Ronaldo Nunez. Yes, Dylan Cease, Sin-Shu Chu, Mitch Garvner.
Hey, Jonathan Toes. How's that?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce that?
Max Kepler.
I can't tell you today when
Tommy LaStella.
I hopped on there and I saw Renato Nunez. I was looking to see what A's cards were popping, and because As bad as this set is, and as terrible as we, think this set is, and as horrible as
it is
all the bad words. Sometimes it's kind of neat to get an autographed card. Like, once in a while, they'll pull like an old food release from the 80s and have a player sign it, and those are neat because those were never signed. Yeah. But again, at the right price. And
someone pulled the 101 Mike Trout already, so that's gone.
When I started seeing like 4 or 5 Renato Nunez's and they're selling like at $30 because people have to try to recover their 40 spot, I'm like, dude, no, not even Mama Nunez is buying that for 30. Sorry, guy.
Yeah.
Mama Nunez is like, hey, where's your best offer?
That's like $12 too much.
I got $12 for you. I'll do a 3 for 30.
Yeah, it features on-card signatures as well as a foil stamp noting the 2020 Archive Signature Series release, and then the cards are encased in a holder. Due to the nature of the product, players often have several different cards. This provides a lot of variety as well as low number cards throughout. So there's not a real checklist because of that. So
we're going to talk about Buster Posey.
No, yeah, how he's a redemption.
Yeah, how do you have a through the mail set? I mean, I'm scrolling through and I saw a Buster Posey redemption, and I'm like, okay, somebody has this mislisted. Hold on. I click on it and I'm like, are you serious? How do you mess that up that bad? Why is there a redemption on a stamp through the mail set?
Yeah.
Thanks, Tops.
Yeah. This is a set right up Steph's alley. 2019-2020 Panini Crown Royal Basketball. Drops
like the name.
Drops this week. $200 a box, 1 pack per box, 8 cards per pack, 1 auto, 1 mem, 2 insert and/or parallels. There's a 139 card base set. There's no card 135, by the way. So they have some lineage. I can speak tonight. Scripts that have on-card autos from rookies as well as different types of foil. The vets and retired players have crown jewel signatures and regal achievement signatures. And the Kaboom is back. It's a tough pull, but they're 25 cards. These use the player illustrations, bright colors, and obviously the Kaboom in the background. Those are some of the most sought-after inserts. It brings us back to the 90s. I think they're amazing. They're like the downtown ones for football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basketball too.
Yeah,
that Barkley is pretty sweet.
And that is a great card. These Lord of the Court ones are pretty neat.
Yeah,
this is something I would not buy a box of, but I would go pick up on the secondary market if I had a player or something or a card just caught my eye, because there's a lot of die cut in this. There's a lot of different looks and elements to it. A lot of on-card signatures, big swatches for cards nowadays that we're used to. So
die cut even looks like
look at that. It's like there's Steph showing a card of Zion and it's him dribbling a ball, but the die cut goes between his legs with the logo with the patch, and it's a 3-color nice thick looking patch. It says Ryan W on there. So
we
George
hit on Panini pretty hard once in a while for the Panini points in the checklist, but their stuff over the last 12 to 18 months has been really solid. A lot of their inserts are really nice. I mean, I don't collect basketball, but if there was a David Robinson on that Kaboom, I might be accurate. Lords of the Court, if it was something like, a Parker Ginobili, assuming that they did stuff, from some of the older players and not just current guys.
I just want to know what a Zion Kaboom's going to go for. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Got a ringing in your ear.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's the sound cash register.
Yep. You can always check out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on these releases. That's where I get a lot of this information. I want to make sure we're giving him credit where credit is due. He works really hard, and there it
got pushed back.
What did?
Friday. Comes out Friday.
Yeah, I said.
I listen.
Okay. So that's this week's releases. What's bring next week's releases? Tops 2020 Top Series 1 baseball.
Yeah, the crowd goes.
Yeah. Drops. All those Ranger cards.
All those Ranger cards. But it's not even the first baseball release of 2020. Thanks, our signature.
It kept getting pushed back. Real quick, though. Rangers real quick have one card. One card.
One.
Most teams have on average, what would you say the average about 12?
9 if you do the math. 9
Oh,
to
is it
10.
9?
Yeah, where they should be.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just talking about overall. If you took all the teams and what it currently
if
is.
you're just doing the math, that's where it should be.
But yeah.
And to me, it's like the A's had 14. You're telling me that the A's couldn't have dropped down to say 11, so the Rangers could go to 4, and another team.
I think the Dodgers had 17 or 19, something like that.
Well, somebody, Jason Mott, I think it was, a big Nationals fan, was saying that there's 3 Rendon cards.
Yeah, but the reason why is because they have a World Series card. He has his own card, and then he had a league leader card.
Yeah.
So that means, but that happens. I mean, when you have a league leader card and you lead the league in something, you're going to have an extra card right off the bat. So
it's just when you look over the checklist, there was plenty of room to take a little bit here. Come on.
Oh no. We're gonna get into it next week about this because I have some good went through the checklist pretty thoroughly. 2019 Panini Limited Football is supposed to come out this week, got pushed back to next, and then we also were going to talk about another product, SP Game Used, but it got pushed back way back, like to the end of February. And then we have 1920 Upper Deck Allure Hockey all next week. As we hop in Infield Chatter, our Hobby Talk section of the show. Card 2020 Topps card number 1 is Mike Trout. Mike Trout. Big shocker. They tweeted out breaking news. Mike Trout to headline the top 2020 Top Series 1 baseball. We're honored to have Trout hitting leadoff in this year's set. Thank you to all who voted. Series 1 is available February 5th. Really, is there any other choice right now besides Mike Trout?
Nope.
Right. If you're not going to put the World Series champion number 1, then you have to put the best player in the game as the number 1 card.
Yeah, and we all agree that the World Series champ should be number 1, but if that's not what you're going to do, then Trout should just be it indefinitely.
Or you go back to the old league leaders, the dual cards, they had the record breakers. Yeah, that should be there.
Be record breakers and league leaders or something like that.
The checklist is out. I think everybody's put it out. Sports Collectors Daily had a nice little article on it. Beckett had one. A bunch of people have posted on there. We were gonna have Chris Torres of CRT Sports on tonight to talk about Series 1 and some aspects of breaking multiple cases and shipping and selling and all that stuff. But unfortunately, real life got in the way. He had to work late tonight, so he got stuck and he couldn't make it. So we're gonna hopefully have him on soon to get into more detail about that. But we are gonna have Steph live at the Million Card Rip Break on the 4th.
I will be there.
He will be there live on location, doing what he can, sharing what he can. And you need to make sure you swing by and say what's up to Dan and Doug and the boys over at Mojo.
Absolutely.
Because they were instrumental. Like, hey, if you guys can't get him in, we'll see if we can hire him or do whatever they need to do to make sure you guys are represented. So that was pretty cool. So swing by and see those guys. But check out everyone doing those breaks. That's going to be a fun day to sit, and we'll talk about that on the show the following nights. So
I just ran the math for Topps 2020 Series 1. Any guesses on who the second least populated team is?
Orioles. 7.
Yeah.
Did I get it right? Do I get a prize? I did get a prize from Steph.
Real quick, the worst team is probably the Pirates. Of just the players listed on there, I think their best player was Starling Marte, and they ended up trading him this week.
Of course.
So, poor Pirates fans. I mean, really, like, you think of the Pirates and you just get sad now. Steph's here pulling it up.
So here's the average. 11 cards.
Should have 11 cards. How? But my question is, and we talked about this, and Sue's like, hey, what do you think of the checklist? And I said, I'm confused. And she asked me why. And I'm like, the Rangers have a card. And Ryan Cracknell, and they came back and said there had to have been something that happened with that. And we'll talk about more next week, but it had to do with like a logo or something. But it's like teams have changed. The Marlins changed the logos a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I mean, so they have the one card, so they were able to change the logo on one card. Like, I don't understand. And I hope they tell us why, because to me, it's the dumbest thing. Anyway.
We had a few friends on Twitter that as we were individually making comments, pointed out other series that had no cards on the checklist, and some people are like, I don't understand why you're making a big deal about, because it's flagship.
It's the record of the year.
Yeah, it's if you were only going to collect one as a basic collector, flagship was the one, the lineage. It's from 52 all the way to now. You're going to collect series 1, series 2, and update. That's what you would collect as a basic collector.
Mike Summer.
As a Ranger fan, you get one card, even if you make it up at 11 in series 2 and 11 in update, so that it ends up being a 23 to 27 card. 4 cards, 5 cards. I mean, it's still too low, but at least it's something to collect.
Yeah, once a brewer here said the Brewers even changed their logos this year too. I mean, once a cup changed their logos this year as well. So, and my thing is that I think Mike Summer has said it best on his podcast about what he collects. Flagship, there's only certain sets he collects that he builds, but flagship, think about it, is your major league record of the season, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have the Bowman prospects and then the Bowman draft prospect sets. If you take away the veteran base out of, and you look at those, and then those are the prospects, and this is the incoming draft class. Basically, if you had those 3 sets, that's like, hey, this is what happened in 2020. These are the names that were involved in the sport this year, so. Well,
and I know, at least speaking to Topps correcting things, in 2013, the Twins only had 4 cards in the base set. Now, yeah, we were trash in 2012, but by the end of the year, we had 18 cards, which was on the shorter end of all of the teams that year.
Still bad for a 3 series, 990 card release.
That's not counting update.
Okay. If it's series 1, series 2, we got 18. Okay, but that's still kind of weak,
right?
Yeah.
But one card doesn't get you excited. I'm supposed to get excited about this year, and
I'm getting a Bubba Starling rookie card, man.
I'm gonna have my one top loader with my card. I mean,
by the way,
build the rainbow without much trouble.
Korean Cardboard just won best Korean collector that listens to the show. He's gonna bust a box of Harry Potter today.
Nice.
Yes. So Jasson Dominguez is signing Bowman cards. There's a picture put out.
Jasson.
There's 2 S's. Jasson Dominguez. If you don't know, he's a 16-year-old Yankees prospect. He's 5'10", 190 pounds. He's switch hitting outfielder from the DR. And he's like this. He was like the best international free agent signing. The number 1 ranked guy. They had a list of names of people that Acuna was one of them. I mean, they say his Bo Jackson like skills, but he's signing Bowman cards here. This was from Topps, I think, Insta account.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the Bowman Chrome logo right there in the corner. I naturally don't want to speak to it, but
yeah. So it's going to be in Sunset this year, and so Bowman, whatever Bowman set this is going to be in, those prices just quadrupled because they think this is the next guy. We just wanted to share it and show it off. So be aware. Jasson Dominguez is going to be in Bowman this year. So 50 cents each. Our buddy Ben Aguirre tweeted at us out at Cardboard Icons. Dude, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? 50 cents each. I'm scared for the future of our hobby. And yes, they're real. 74 is one of my favorite Ryans of all time. So he sends out a tweet and he bought a 74, 80.
That's a 76 and a
76, 74. And then
76, yeah.
Yeah. And then a couple other cards for 50 cents. And he's like, what's going on? He goes, he later on, after a bunch of people replied, I think it's because there's a generation of collectors who don't care about old cards. Now, do you guys think that's true? That they're just these collectors that don't care about anything that's not brand new?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, we're in the breaker era, right? The breaker era essentially is double speak for gamblers. I mean, let's call it what it is. We've said it before. People are gambling on the big hits. Rip and flip. Let's make some money. And they don't care because they're not in this for the long term. They're not in this for the collecting. They're in it for that satisfaction right now. Not everybody that breaks is. Don't get me wrong. but there's a contingency. No matter how big or how small, there's a lot of people that just don't care. If there's not ink on it, I mean, look how far we've come from relics. When we got into the hobby, Tim, back in the 2010, 2012 range, relics were huge. That's what you wanted, game used material. And now people are like, I don't care about a relic. They're selling in dollar boxes over at the LCS.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's nice. It to me, it was kind of shocking. And I think there was some truth to it. I think there's two camps. There's the people that live in the now, and then there's the people that look back and are like, this is a time to hop on this stuff and take advantage. And one of our guys is doing that. So he's after some wax stains. So Larry Ribes, DB at DOCB Lanny. Sorry, I don't know why I typed Larry. Lanny, DOBCBZ17 on Twitter. Updated my 87 tops wax stain set needs checklist. Don't throw them away. Send them my way. He's building a complete set with wax stains. I love it.
Lanny's a good dude. I mentioned a few weeks back that he sent me a Christmas gift that was completely unexpected. He's a good dude. So if you can hook him up with some wax stain cards, and that, first off, what year was it, Timothy?
87.
The best year.
It's going to be the best year. So let's do this for him.
He doesn't need a 566 though. I already looked.
Well, and two things with this. One,
what's 566?
If you read through the chat, everyone's saying, "Hey, I have some for these groups. It looks like you need them. I'll send them your way." Hey, I have some. Hey, these are what I have. They're yours.
What card number is 566?
McGuire's second year card.
366.
366. That's what I meant.
Okay.
It's been a long day. I'm going on like 3 hours.
Since we were talking about the Ben McGuire, I got to shake hands or fist bump every Oakland A's player and coach this past Saturday. Everyone.
And Ben McGuire, right?
Awesome.
Did you get a snuggle? A little snuggle huggle?
I'm standing there and I get a tap on my back. I turn around and it's the hobby legend, the Ben McGuire.
Now, when he turned around and said hello, did he go,
like the heaven parted and like the parade stopped and they're like, whoa.
This light shone down from above.
And we shook hands, and for a moment I was just in his presence and I was just like, I can't believe I'm meeting the Ben McGuire. And now I guess because I called him a hobby legend on the Twitter, now his daughter's like, hey, Dad. Oh, wait a minute. I mean, hey, hobby legend. So,
and I also heard you ran into another friend of ours as well.
I ran into the Brian Bice,
the Oakland A collector.
I ran into Sandlot 408, Brian Johannesson, who's the pin guy. You met him at the last show. Ran into a couple different people that I knew, which is kind of weird because there's 10,000 people out there. What are the odds of you running into people? I mean, Ben knew where I was at because I told him where I was standing. And but to just randomly run into other people that you know too is pretty neat.
Yeah. So Steph had an interesting dinner. Was it 2 weeks ago, Steph?
January 20th.
He's got it imprinted on his brain. He had dinner at Dr. Beckett's house. And Dr. James Beckett.
Like Dr. Price Guide?
Yeah, he was able to attend the yearly hobby dinner. Steph, who was there? What was it like? Let us live through your words.
Sure. So we get there, and park. Angela drops me off, and I follow directions, and I get into this huge dining area. I mean, longest table I've seen. My parents have like a 15-footer. Easily 20, 30 chairs around the table. Dr. Beckett naturally sitting in the center. But there was a sports agent there. I mean, there was one of the leads from the Beckett grading. Andy Broom was there. The Panini head of basketball development. Not sure what his actual title is, but that's essentially what it equated out to. Several of the ex-Beckett guys, a local show legend who actually finished out my 67 top set while his son did. But and then I also saw naturally my boss, my head boss, Tim. We have an interview on the podcast backgrounds.
Oh, the other Tim.
The more important Tim.
Oh.
The most important Tim. No. But so he had 2 nights that essentially you could pick or choose whether you want to go on the vintage night or the more recent night. And for what it's worth, the sports agent is the Chiefs kicker's agent.
Butker's agent?
No, the current Chiefs kicker.
Yeah, Harrison Butker.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Huge Brett Favre fan, though. But anyway, no. So there was a vintage night and there was a more recent to Junk Wax discussion night. If you're out of town, you could attend both naturally. But for the most part, for the vintage night, because it's the night that I chose to go and it's the night that I had available, we covered, what is vintage, covered with our collections, who introduce yourselves so we all get acquainted. Naturally, there's some food provided, dinner and drinks and whatnot. A pretty lively discussion regarding tobacco era, the 60s and 70s. Most of the people in the room, I would say, well, for one, I was the youngest person in the room by 2 years. But I would say that for the most part, the majority of the people in the room were in their mid-50s, give or take. The interesting discussion that stuck out most, outside of the introductions, was just hearing everyone's backstory. Where my first pack was this, and I remember collecting these, and then everyone else chiming in. Well, yeah, my first case was this product, and well, my first break was in the early 2000s, but I was reading most of your guys' stuff, so that counts for something, right? But yeah, it was a fun night. Now, I did ask, because it's our prime complaint with Panini, that I have 2 questions. One, can you kind of explain in short form the blockchain event that you guys have going on? He goes, well, essentially, with the auctions, there's 2 tangible assets that are being sold: the digital ledger and the physical card. So they are independent of each other. However that works out, hey.
Which goes against the whole basic premise and principle behind blockchain, as it's been
that's your world.
On every financial website.
And then, what's the deal with the checklist? Yes, I did ask. And he said, we're working on it. And for the most part, they've been better about it in the past 6 months. So he says.
Okay. The Crown Royal one was available, so that was fun.
Well, the last 2 or 3 releases, they've been out on time, or like the day of. So give them some credit. But he also said, when it comes to actually releasing a checklist, there are multiple things that go on in the background as far as, do we have all of these signatures, or do we have the redemptions made, or we don't want to release it saying that, hey, we have a signature for George Brett, and then not have his signature. They try to release it with enough lead time so that they know what all they have, but they don't like releasing it when people are still iffy on what's in what.
Then put subject to change. We're okay with that.
They don't like doing that.
Well,
because they don't want to get their feelings hurt at Snowflake U.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's the bullshittiest of bullshit thing I've ever heard. Come on, dude.
But what was it like to be there with some of these guys and rub elbows? And did you just sit back and listen to the stories?
Basically,
Yeah.
you
told
know,
him about to listen.
I
You
know,
told him to listen to our podcast, right? And it was the greatest podcast in the planet.
naturally, I brought it up, and actually, the sports agent was talking about how he's looking to start up his own podcast as well. And Dr. Beckett interrupts and he goes, "Well, great. Now I'm the third most popular podcast in the room."
Oh, I love it.
Bringing us up. But no, I mean, it's sitting in the room with people that have helped shape the industry for the past decade plus.
Oh, yeah.
Or longer. I mostly sat back and took it in. I mean, I interjected here or there. Or another one that came up, the discussion on that Biggs loves, where if you have vintage packs or product, should you open it? Now, I brought up the fact that when I first got back into the hobby, I broke a cello box of 1985 Topps football.
Ooh.
I got like 3/4 of the set, and it's nothing major. And Warren Moon, most important card on the set.
Yep.
You take.
Is that the black set?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's a pretty set.
That's the reason I broke it. But I saw at the National that a box of it was selling for like triple digits, unopened, for cello, for Warren Moon. And not that you should want to sell it, but I kind of like the idea and Biggs's idea that hoard what you can. It's not a bad investment to have unopened packs of vintage product, because you just never know. There might be a Mickey Mantle, there might be a George Brett.
Yeah, or there's going to be just be chock full of
a whole lot of nothing.
Steel gun.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Where's the nanny cam? We want the footage that you. I mean, you're like you're like in the king's chambers over there at Dr. Beckett's house. You're like in the seat that everybody, since we were little tiny.
They probably confiscated phones and they had to go through like this maze to get back there.
Well, I mean, it's not too far from George Bush's house, so I'm sure they got some extra security in the neighborhood. But interestingly, no, had the phone the entire time. But he did tell a story way back when on how his daughter brought one of her boyfriends over when he was out of town one day. And when he came back, she told him, well, yeah, I showed him, what you do. And I showed him all your nice stuff that are in the closet. And of course, he had a freak because he'd had like the complete 52, 53, 54, 55 top sets finished in that closet. And he goes, well, and I'm not too worried because the boyfriend that she brought over is sitting like 3 seats over from me to the right here, Eddie. But apparently just being able to show stuff like that, and his display shelves are amazing.
Oh, yeah. I'm over here excited about my 87 Topps complete set
stuff. Or Leon from Net54 brought up that one of the things after he sold out of his collection to consolidate, he had purchased a type of photograph from the mid to late 1800s, but it shows a few people playing baseball in the background. And that a couple years later, he brought it to the National. He showed some of the auction houses, and he paid like $1,800, $1,900, $2,000, something to that effect, $3,000 for this vintage type of photo. I think it was like a metal sheet, but it's a photo. I'm sure Vosbrink will hit us up with the exact name of the type, but when he sold it at the National, he got like $40,000 for it.
What?
That's not a bad turnaround.
Huh?
Apparently, it's one of the first photos of someone playing baseball.
Wow.
And of course, the auction house probably put it up for auction. It's sold for triple that.
Yeah.
I've looked into some of that pre Allen and Ginter stuff from 1888. Some of those, it's amazing what some of that stuff sells for, and it's raw still. In some cases, it's incredible.
Definitely,
it'd be fun to have a piece of that, but not at that price. At least not based on the socioeconomics of this particular household.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're very lucky to be able to go and.
Next time, sell pay-per-view tickets.
Right.
Where
auction
people would, $9.95 to see what goes on in there. Since we all can't be so awesomely,
connected.
Yeah,
connected, so to speak.
All that Dallas baseball card mafia that's down there.
Right.
So that's pretty amazing. So I from our show account, I tweeted this out the other day. I kind of wanted to know because I made an interesting purchase on Friday night, kind of on a whim. Or was it Thursday night? It was in the last week. What is the most famous or popular card you own? And as an example, I said like a 52 Mantle. We had a bunch of good responses. Dub and Bean came out. Dub and Ken came out and said 89 Griffey, Upper Deck Griffey. Foul 5 Ball said 89 Fleer Billy Ripken. KBO Collections was the 59 Tops Bob Gibson. Mark Hoyle, 54 Ted Bowman, Ted Williams. Our buddy Scott said it was the 56 Mantle. Dan Law 42 said the 80 Tops Ricky Henderson. A handful of people had obviously the 11 Trout update. The 75 Brett. 86, 87 Fleer Jordan. And somebody had like a pristine 10. So I was like, everybody was dealing with that one. And also the 68 Tops Jerry Kuzman rookie card. That has some other guy on there.
Grove, Minnesota's own.
We always bring it back to Minnesota. So, Kevin Jones has he got to see his 60 Yaz rookie he got from a football coach when he was 15. That's pretty cool. So Ben, what's probably your most famous or popular card that you have in the hobby that's in your collection?
It'd either be the 56 Mantle or the 68 Jerry Kuzman rookie card that has that other guy on it. If we're just going based on the overall popularity. I mean, obviously I own all the big A's ones like the 69 Jackson, 80 Henderson. And
stuff. About the Eddie Plank.
But see, that's E95 caramel, so it's not really famous. It's very similar to the T206, but it's not. So, I mean, how many people know?
No, you don't own a T206 plank?
God, no. How much money do you think I've got?
What are you doing down there?
I have 21 out of 22 pace cards.
We haven't seen your checkbook.
Now, the E20.
Hold on. Let me get out.
Yeah, the E95 caramel is a 25 card set. It also features the Cobb. I think there's like 5 or 6 A's on the checklist. There's quite a few Tigers. But it's basically the same picture. It's just slightly different. It shows a little bit more of the profile than the T206.
Steph, what's your most famous popular card that you have in your collection?
Well, since I finished all but the Tops Twins run, I have naturally the Killer Brew, the Rod Carew, the Kirby Pockets, the even in OPG format. But I'm screen sharing here, and I'll show you my answers.
Oh, I have
one. I picked up a version of this. I'm getting it signed probably next week at the Tops Million Card Rip.
Mine's already signed, by the way.
How many times are you gonna drop Dr. Beckett's name? That I know him personally. I've eaten at his house.
Well, I mean, you guys make it easy, but no. I'd always chased this version of this card. It's a great card. I've had the base naturally, but to have a number to 2002, 2003 version, it was on my checklist for the longest time, and I finally picked one up about 2 years ago.
I thought we were talking about
famous cards, like people would know. You don't even know what year that card was. Like
famous cards.
He doesn't know what it was numbered out of. He doesn't know a lot about it, and it was sitting right in front of him.
Yeah.
Recently bought this miscut Gary Carter,
which is probably the second most famous card out of 75 behind the Robin Yount rookie.
Of course.
Jim Rice.
So there's your top 3 right there, folks.
So, always would be here's one of my 75 Bretts. But no, I picked up a 93 SP Jeter this week from a friend, and that was moving some cards, and the price was right, and it was one of those things that I'd be mad at myself if I didn't buy it at that what I paid for it from the pictures. Less than $300, and it's a beautiful looking card. And I was really happy. I mean, I can't wait to see it in hand. But it's one of those
killer Royale, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those things like you see this. It's one of those cards we talked about this last week, and I've always wanted, but it was one of those cards like, man, they're always priced beyond what I'm willing to spend, and it kind of some things worked out. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to hit while the iron's hot, and I'm glad to have this card. So I'll show it off next week on the show. But that's what kind of got me involved, or wanted me to post this was to do that. I have an 11 Trout update that and the thing is that these cards now have a story, like the Walter Payton rookie that found in a friend's father-in-law's collection. I ended up getting as a birthday present. The 11 Trout came from Steph. This SP Jeter's coming from a friend. So it's like these cards now will never leave because they have a neat story behind them of friends in the hobby. So
right.
There is a new show coming out that's going to debut on Saturday at 8:00 Pacific, 11 Eastern, and it's called the Hobby Hotline.
AM, folks.
AM. It's an early morning show. And we've been working in the background for a while. We've kind of teased this a little bit since about before the National. We started talking about this. So these are the people involved in the Hobby Hotline. The three idiots here on the show. Colin from Sports Card Radio, Val from NASCAR Radio, Mike Summer with his new podcast, Drew from Let Me Get That Potograph, the boys over at Mojo, Doug and Dan, John Newman from Sports Card Nation. Are going to be involved in this, and
as well as the natural rotating crew of extras.
We're going to have a handful of hosts from random shows every week on there. We're going to take live calls. It's going to be very similar to this, but we'll be able to take calls and have listeners interact. Someone in the chat had asked if they could call in, and we don't have that set up yet. We're going to see how it works with this show. But Saturday, it's going to run every Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific Coast time. Check it out, the Hobby Hotline. I'm not going to be on this week. This week it's going to be Ben and Colin and Drew and John. Yeah.
The idea actually started with Rob Bertrand from Go GTS, who had said, I wish one of the podcasts would kind of do a call-in show similar to Old Cardboard Connection. And I got Rob on the phone and we were talking about it, and it kind of developed into what if instead of just it being about the cards call-in show, we all just got all the podcasts involved and certain select guests that might come in and spot host. And that way the burden is kind of spread out amongst everybody, but it also allows different voices. We're going to work really hard to make sure that we're not on the show together. Doug and Dan are split up. And the idea being is when you watch the hype, you get them. When you watch this show, you get us. And so we want different voices together. Since everybody kind of offers something different, we have different levels of expertise in different areas. You want to talk about, NASCAR cards, call when Val's on there. You want to talk about, football and shiny prism type stuff. Drew's probably your guy. You want to talk about anything under the sun when it comes to being an encyclopedia? Well, wait till Steph's hosting. And that's the idea is,
February 8th.
Breaking, you got Doug and Dan. We have a lot of the areas covered. We're going to try to find somebody that can speak in depth about non-sports. Maybe that's Ryan Cracknell that can come in once in a while and kind of spot host. And that way, we'll release the schedule and you'll be able to see and say, that's the week I need to call because I've got a question and I want that person to answer for me. And, we want debate. It's going to be fun, we think. We don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it'll only last for a little while.
It could be a shit show, but we have no idea we're willing to try it.
And
it's either going to be Avengers or it's going to be Justice League, and so we're not sure when it's going to be any good or not, or the Suicide Squad, and But I'm excited. So follow at Hobby Hotline on Twitter. That's where we are right now, and we're going to get some more stuff out and put it together. Bear with us for the first couple weeks because we're trying to put this together as quick as we can. We've talked about it a while, and we're finally getting there, but we want to make sure it's ever evolving, right? We're always evolving what we're doing, and if you're not evolving, then something happened there. And we're going to try to make the best go of it, and I think we have a lot of people. There we go. Coming that are going to be involved. It's going to be great. We're going to do. Steph had the best idea of doing it on 2/2/2020, but ended up being Super Bowl Sunday.
This is literally going to be the best thing in your house in the month of February.
Yeah,
and we're doing it a day before the Super Bowl so that we can jump the gun on them.
Yeah. So we already have a pretty good following. And, so check us out. And it leads us into our Super Bowl 54 pick. So let's preview. Let's go back. So Steph picked the Vikings and the Chiefs. Ben had the Ravens and the Packers. I had the Chiefs and the 49ers. What the fuck? Like, really? Yeah. So we have the Niners and the Chiefs playing the Super Bowl.
Are you done with your little celebration? That was the worst celebration I've ever seen.
Yeah, because it truly wasn't my pick because I was trying to be different from your pick because I really liked Ben's pick. But hell, look, it looks right now. So we have the Chiefs Niners. We have Mahomes versus Garoppolo. Who is going to win the Super Bowl?
So I'm going to stick with my initial pick and go with the Chiefs.
The Chefs. All righty. Ben. And listen, you better say the right team because there is a certain listener of this show, a certain friend of ours that's highly involved in this week and what's going on. And you don't want to upset him.
I have.
And if I'm not right, I'm going to leave the stadium.
Be winning a Super Bowl ring this weekend, but I have to say that as much as I love Chris, I as a Raider fan, I just want them both to not play. And this is the worst matchup since the 2002 World Series when it was the Giants and the Angels. I guess I got to root for the Chiefs because I can't. Like, seriously, my life will end if the Niners – I can't stand the Niners, so screw it.
Our buddy Chef Chris is actually the chef of the 49ers, and he was sending me some DMs of behind the scenes of the Bowl, and damn, I said, quit talking to me. Go enjoy this thing. You got work to do. You got to make sure these guys are ready for the Super Bowl. I feel like I'm picking the Chiefs because I have two bets going with two really good friends that are Niner fans. And so I don't want to lose those. Plus, I think Mahomes, just the way that he's been playing this playoffs, he's playing at this next level right now. And sometimes it's like a goalie when they get hot, right, Steph, and they're standing on their head. Or you have a couple pitchers on your team. Tim, the Hobby Hotline, it's going to be on Twitter. It's going to be very much set up just like this.
Yeah.
It's going to be live stream a lot of places. So looks like a clean sweep for the Chiefs. Good luck, everybody. Hope you have Super Bowl squares. That was always fun. But any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
Yeah, I do have one.
Yeah, take the stage.
Before Ben kicks off.
Just cut in line.
It's mine are short.
Rude.
And I know what Ben wants to cover, kind of. But no, one, unlike the showers in the NBA, apparently. Dude, seriously, go pay attention, go cook their meals. And two, I got to show a minor pickup here. So these are from the 1890s. One for my home state, one for Hey Angela's home state, and naturally our country. But if you look in the side corner here, they're playing baseball.
Nice.
How cool is that?
I love the hell out of those.
That's
From
cool.
1890, what's the year here? 1889 and 1898.
Make sure you tweet those out because I know Ken, I think he just left. He'd love to see this because I know he's getting into some of that oddball tobacco and pre-war stuff.
That's cool. All right, take the stage, Benjamin.
Yeah, so I was only waiting on one package from eBay. I thought it came today, right? So I opened it up and I was just going to kind of toss it aside. But then it said ComC, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't buy anything from ComC at the moment, right? Because I don't buy from them directly just because they don't typically have what I'm after at any given time, right? So I've bought from them through eBay, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't buy this thing because it was a McGuire, 85 McGuire. And so I open it up, and it's this little beauty. And let me see if I can get the lighting.
It's missing some colors, bro.
It's missing some color. What exactly is this, Steph? Because I know you know.
It's missing the black.
You would think so, but no. If you look at the Yale pennant, it's definitely not. And
weird.
I consulted Nick before I. So what happened was that actually came across my desk to identify, and let me see if I can get a bigger review here. Here we go. Without the glare.
Yeah,
and I just knew that Ben had to have it. So what had happened was, and like I said, I talked to Voss Brink on Twitter here, and he said that they'd missed the magenta print run.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I guess you can see his name a little bit there. Yeah.
Yeah, you
and the black's in here. And so when I put it in, I made the note that it is printing error, missing magenta. And then I waited a day or so, and the person listed it for 60 cents.
Nice. Look at you. But I'm going to tell you something, Steph. That was not the best thing that came in that package. It was this little beauty.
Yes, indeed.
It says, and I quote, to my favorite 2006 ALCS losers. Okay. We're going to skip over that. And podcast co-host. So if we cut out the 2006 part, it says, to my favorite podcast co-host. Boom. That happened.
Yeah.
It said it right there. That happened. In your face, Tim.
You know that's just bed talk, and I said the same to him, right?
But you know what's funny is that you guys are the co-host. I am the showrunner, so I'm a step above.
I have this in writing. I don't care what you say to him when you're in bed with him. I have it in writing. I'm going to put this under my pillow and hope that the card comes tonight.
Well, my final thought is tonight. I've made my wall of binders over here, right? My Billy bookcase. After talking to him, we had Sal on the show a couple weeks back, and he told me there was an extension. I picked up 2 extensions, and then I picked up a big shelf. And then I was like, you know what? I bought some more binders because, I can't live without them. And then I decided I don't like the spine labels, so I remade new ones. So I'm going to have hopefully some photos up this weekend of the new setup and what they look like, and so everybody can look at what's all around me. But that's what I'm working on.
Asking for a closer shot on this.
Oh. There we go. Nice, and look at that. But I love those glossy inserts ones, those all-star cards. Those are some of my favorites as a kid. Remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Please do. Hit us up. Let us know. We need some more reviews, especially like on iTunes. That'd be cool. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. Follow me at Big Shep 79. Make sure you check out at Hobby Hotline this Saturday at 8 a.m. Follow them. Follow us, I guess, on the Hobby Hotline on Twitter. And then please share your hobby stories, great pulls, and send your questions our way. Keep collecting. We'll see y'all next week. We'll talk 2020 Series 1 in depth. You're going to hate us afterwards. We're going to just blow it up, and we're going to talk about the million card break. Because we're going to have a guy on the field. We might be the only one down there reporting live. So
seriously, as a preview, how ridiculous is it that the Rangers, the team where they're hosting this event, only has one?
Yes, one card. So maybe Steph can get some answers, some hard-hitting facts.
We'll see.
All right, guys. Have a great night and great weekend, and let's go Chiefs and let's have a great Super Bowl. I just want a good game. Let's have a good game.
It should be a good game no matter who wins, but if the 49ers lose, it'll be a better game.
There you go. All right, well, we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.
Derp.